about 852 million adults worldwide meet criteria for insomnia. I think that this is 16% of the global adult population.
Why you can't sleep and why do not pills work?
Welcome back to GNN Podcast, Real Life No Ghost. I'm Dr. George
And me, I'm Lena, surgical nurse. And before also we start, I want to make a fast disclaimer that this podcast is only educational and it's not a personal medical advice. So if you have any of those red flags and you recognize yourself in any of this, please get in contact with your doctor.
I have to say this episode, it's personal for both you and me.
It really is. I had periods where I couldn't sleep really for days, lying there, mind racing, exhausted, but like weird.
Same here, my surgery schedules which destroy the normal sleep, night shift, early morning, high stress environments. I live in this.
And this is really not theoretical for us. We have also been people to Google.
Yes. Why I cannot sleep. Okay, so today we will try to cover what is insomnia, why insomnia happens, the actual brain science, why sleeping pills make things worse, what is the gold standard treatment for the most of the people which can work better than medication, and the complete protocol that you can try to start tonight.
Plus a special section for the shift workers because you are often forgotten.
Yes, but I don't forget them because I am one of them. So we will try to decode your sleepless nights.
So tell us, Dr. George, what counts as insomnia medically?
Okay, insomnia is difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, waking too early with daytime impact. And it becomes chronic when it's happened at least 3 nights a week for at least 3 months. Okay?
What is sleep and why does it break?
We got this.
Before we fix insomnia, we need to understand what normally sleep actually looks like. What happens when we fall asleep? Explain.
Sleep, it's not just unconsciousness. It's an active stress-free process with 4 distinct stages that cycle throughout the night. Okay?
Walk me through them like I never heard about this before so I can understand completely and other listener.
Okay. We have 4 stages. We start from the stage number 1 or N1. This is the doorway. This is, think it like the transition between waking and sleeping. You are easily awakened, muscles usually starts to relax, and if you have ever, jolted awake as you are falling asleep, that's like a hypnotic jerk which happening in one stage.
Recognize that. That thing where you feel like you are falling asleep, that's terrifying.
So the number 2 stage is the stage N2. It's the light sleep. This is where the most, you spend most of your life. Some research says about 45%, but this is numbers. It's for everybody the same. But I think that in that stage, the heart rate slows, the body temperature drops. Because of that, we say also, the windows to drop the temperature of their own, you will make it easy. And your brain produces sleep spindles, like a burst of activity which is crucial for memory consolidation.
So this part is when the memory gets locked in?
Partially, yes. After we go to the stage N3, like the deep sleep, it's called also slow wave sleep. This is the most restorative phase. Think that your brain produces those waves that's called delta waves. They are slow, powerful, like they touch segments. And the growth hormone is released here. You have a tissue repair, and of course, the immune system strengthens.
So this is like the good stuff people talk about.
Exactly. And if you wake someone from N3 state, usually they feel, groggy and confused and like sleep inertia. And after we have the final that many people probably have had, the REM phase, it's rapid eye movement. And this is where the most dreaming happens. Brain in this phase is highly active, almost as active as you were awake. But your body is essentially paralyzed.
Paralyzed.
Yes, but this is to prevent you from acting out your dreams. Because REM is critical for emotional processing and memory, you have to be paralyzed, otherwise, some people they move during the sleep like me. And REM phase is about 25% of your night sleep around. So think that you cannot move so much.
So we cycle through all the 4 stages.
Yes, usually each cycle takes about 90 to 120 minutes. And you go through, depends how long you sleep, but you go through 4 or 5 times per night, in like 4 cycles per night. And here's the key, the composition change. Early in the night, usually you have more sleep. Later in the night, you have more REM.
So what does this basically mean for the people that sleeps 5 hours?
They are disproportionately losing REM sleep. You cutting sleep short, doesn't just mean, okay, I have less sleep. It means different or worse quality of sleep.
So people with insomnia, what different is about their sleep?
They don't just sleep less. Their sleep architecture is disrupted. More time in light sleep and less time in deep sleep and REM. More frequently awakens, of course, and here's a cruel irony. They often spend more time in bed trying to compensate.
And that doesn't help.
It makes things worse.
How? Because that seems backwards.
Because you are diluting sleep. If you need 7 hours of sleep, but you are spending 10 hours in bed, you are sleeping 70% of the time that you are lying there, okay? But your brain starts associating the bed with being awake, with frustration, with watching the clock, with an association, I'm sitting in the bed and I'm looking around. And that association becomes a problem.
Yeah, because this is something I felt too, being exhausted and unable to sleep. What actually happens in the brain?
At the core of most insomnia is something called hyperarousal. Okay? Your brain's arousal system. I think this is the part that keeps you alert. Think like overactive. And it doesn't turn off when it should.
So basically, it's not that the people with insomnia are tired, but can't sleep.
They are tired, but where? Their bodies want rest, but their brains are stuck in alert mode, thing like this.
That's exactly how it feels.
And here, what makes it worse is this hyperarousal becomes conditioned. So the bed itself becomes a trigger for alertness.
Please explain conditionment.
Conditioned, it's like, do you remember that from the university, the Pavlov's dog, the experiment? But in reverse. After enough night of lying awake, frustrated, your brain learns, bed equals alertness. So you can be exhausting on the couch, dozing off, watching TV, and the moment you get into bed, suddenly you're waking up.
So basically, your brain flipped the switch because it learned that's what the bed is for.
Exactly. And this is why we can't just try harder to sleep. It doesn't work. The trying is part of the problem.
Let's talk about the sleeping pills, because everyone reach out for them. Ambien, Lunesta, the Z drugs, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes.
What's the actual problem with this?
Okay, Z drugs, we call it Z because it's like Zonbidem or Zolpidem. They work by enhancing GABA, and this is the brain's main inhibitor neurotransmitter. They do help you fall asleep faster.
How much faster?
For some people, a bit faster, but usually a modest effect measured in minutes, not a total fix or something.
Oh, that's fast. That's less than I expected, to be honest.
And here's what they don't tell you.
Go on. I really want to hear this one.
First, they alter sleep architecture. You are not getting natural sleep. You are getting a drug-induced unconsciousness. Okay? Or REM sleep is often suppressed.
So it's not real sleep.
It's chemically different. And second, your tolerance and dependence can develop over time. That meaning the same dose may feel less effective, and if you stop suddenly, you can get a rebound insomnia. Sometimes maybe worse for a while. And the third, depends is real for people, for some people, of course, especially those that use it for longer times.
So basically, the pill creates the problem it is supposed to fix.
Exactly. So it makes like a cognitive effect. Next day, grogginess, memory problems, increased fall risk. And this is why usually it's dangerous for older people.
And there is something about sleepwalking. I've heard scare stories. I am one of the one that actually sleepwalked a lot as a young child. Tell me.
First, the FDA added a boxed warning in 2019 for rare but serious complex sleep behaviors like sleepwalking, sleep driving, and sleep eating activities. And those are activities which people may not remember.
Sleep driving, it sounds really scared.
Yes, there are case reports of people cooking meals, having conversations, even driving cars.
Wow.
But no memory. And here's what's the most important point. Those meds are generally framed as short-term tools. If insomnia persists beyond about 1-2 weeks, the most important is to find the reason, like what is driving, not just keep extending the prescription forever.
But people take them for years.
Millions of people, basically, for months or years.
What does the research actually say about long-term use?
A review in Lancet, they looked around 170 sleep drug studies. The conclusion was sleeping pills helps a little at first. They don't have good evidence that they work long term. And, we don't have great safety data for extended use.
So they can basically knock you out, but they don't teach your brain how to sleep. Am I correct?
Perfect. I think it was perfect the way you put it. They are a crutch, not a cure.
So what actually works long term?
Think cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia. This is called CBT-I, because it's cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia. And basically the evidence is overwhelmed.
CBT, I've heard about CBT for anxiety and depression, but what's the difference about the sleep version?
For the insomnia version, the CBT-I is the first line of treatment for chronic insomnia, according, of course, to the major medical associations like American Academy of Sleep Medicine, etc. It's the first line. You start with this.
Okay, first line. Before medication?
Yes, it's before medications. And, the evidence is that strong that the organization are supporting to start with this.
What does the research actually show?
They had a review that put out to 2025. I think it was around 29 studies. And it found that what was incredible, it was app-based CBT-I, like they used an app. And it found that those apps programs consistently improved insomnia compared with control programs like basic sleep education. And the benefits can last for months, Of course, if you follow the instructions in the steps.
Wait, so you meaning that actually an act can improve the insomnia?
Yes, for most people, yes. Of course, CBT-I, you can speak with some clinician, but also they use the app. And here what is remarkable, that in a study, they show that the sleep improvement were still there at least 6 months later. So pills don't do that. They don't help us, even CBT-I, even you use an app.
So this actually fixes the underlying problem.
It retrains your brain. It saves the relationship with the sleep. It doesn't even fix the problem directly.
Walk me through what CBT actually involves.
There were 5 evidence-based techniques. I will break it down one by one. First, it was like sleep restriction therapy.
That sounds bad. Restricting sleep when you already can't sleep.
So, I know that it sounds counterintuitive, but it's the most powerful tool, You limit time in bed to what's actually sleep time. If you are sleeping 5 hours but you're spending 8 hours in bed, you have to compress it about 5.5 hours initially.
Where does that help?
Beat the sleep pressure, the biological drive for sleep. And it breaks the association between bed and wakefulness. When you feel like getting bed, you are genuinely tired, so sleep becomes consolidated physical.
What about second pillow?
You have the stimulus control. The bed is only for sleep and sex. So not reading, no TV, no phone, no working. If you can't sleep after 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you get up, go to another room, do something boring in a dim light, and return only when you are sleeping.
So this retrains the brain to associate bed with sleep.
Exactly. And the third, it's cognitive restructuring. Okay? When you restructure, what it is, this addresses the catastrophic thinking that fuels insomnia. Oh, I'm sitting here, I will never sleep. Oh, tomorrow will be ruined. Oh, something is seriously with me. Oh, I will sleep 3 hours, I have to go to work. And you just control, like, look, okay, what is this?
Well, I definitely have those nights that we have.
I have it many times, but everyone has with insomnia has these nights. Those thoughts, for example, they create anxiety that prevents sleeps. You learn to identify and challenge those thoughts, and things like the thought that you can do. It's sleep hygiene education. Yeah. This is environment and behavioral factors like a consistent schedule, avoiding caffeine afternoon, limiting alcohol, cool the room, dark room.
Yeah, that's the stuff I want to talk about.
Yes, and sleep hygiene alone doesn't cure insomnia, but it's foundational. You need it for like all the other techniques, together to work. And exists also something more, relaxation techniques, like when you go into bed, mindfulness, deep breathing, that I meditate, to progressively make a massive relaxations. Okay, and this counteract the hyperarousal that we discussed.
How long until this actually works?
You have to try some weeks. Usually in the first week, it's difficult. Okay? You're sleep and tired. But after week 2 or 3, sleep usually starts consolidating. By the week 4 to 8, most people are sleeping better than they have in years.
So basically, it gets worse before it becomes better.
Yes, everything temporary misery for long-term gains.
Is it any benefit beyond just better sleep?
They have done some research that shows that it doesn't only fix insomnia, but it prevents depression.
Really?
Yes, and I think like they have done a randomized trial in with insomnia and subclinical depression, And those that they have done, CBT-I and exercise have significantly lower rates of developing major depressive disorder over the 12 months.
So fixing sleep protects the mental health.
Yes, but I think there is a directional relationship. Who sleeps increases depression rates. Depression often sleeps. But if you break the cycle at sleep, you protect both. And because of what we have discussed also on the previous podcast, how important is the sleep.
This is why insomnia isn't just not sleep, and it affects actually everything.
Of course. And let me give you a practical evidence-based protocol. But you can start tonight. It's simplified CBT-I combined with optimal sleep hygiene.
Give us something simple to remember.
Okay, something simple. 3-2-1 rule. Very simple. 3 hours before bed, no more food or alcohol. Alcohol might make you drowsy, but it disturbs sleep architecture. So usually it suppresses REM early and cause a bound wakeful news later.
The myth busting, so that nightcap isn't helping.
No, it makes things worse. We go to 2 hours before bed, no more work. I don't know how, I can't, but stop checking emails, stop thinking about tomorrow's problem. Your brain needs time to dump shit.
I believe this one is very hard already.
Yes, but we're talking for people that want to have insomnia, it's good to try. So, and the number 1 in the rule 3-1, it's 1 hour before bed, no more screens. Blue light suppress melatonin, but worse, the content itself, it's stimulating. So, no social media, no use, no contact with your phone or TV.
So 3, 2, 1, food and alcohol, work, screens.
Yes, no food, no alcohol, no work, no screens.
What about sleep restriction part?
Here's exactly how to do it. You have to have steps to make it easier. Step 1, you calculate your average sleep time. You track it for a week. If you are in bed 8 hours, but you're actually sleeping 5.5 hours, for example, your average it's 5.5.
Okay, be honest with yourself about it.
Yes. You have step 2. Set a wake time and stick to it. Pick a time that you can maintain 7 days a week. This is not reversible. Your circadian rhythms anchors on wake time more than bedtime. Very important.
Same time, every day, even on the weekends, and during this time.
Okay. So, step 3. Work backwards to set your bedtime. If you are sleeping 5.5 hours and you need to wake at 6, don't go to bed until 12:30, for example. So that's late, but that's the point. That's the point. To be late, so you have to have a little bit sleep depression. And very important. This is step 4. Never go below 5 hours.
Yeah.
I think it's the safety floor. And the last step, only expand when your sleep efficiency hits around 85% of the time.
What is sleep efficiency?
It's the time asleep divided by time in bed. When you are sleeping 85% of the time that you are in bed. Okay? So if you are 10 hours in bed, some you have to sleep 8.5 hours. And usually you add 15-20 minutes to your sleep window. But now we're talking about people that they are not sleeping 8.5 hours.
What about the step 6?
If you cannot sleep, get up. For me, after 20 minutes of lying awake, leave the bedroom, do something boring, you do the lights, and only return when you are feel your room to sleep.
What about the bedroom setup?
The easy 3, cool, dark, quiet. Okay? Temperature has to be low. It's around 19 degrees or even low. This is in Fahrenheit, I think around 67. Your body temperature needs to drop for sleep initiation. And this cool room cache. Usually, I open the windows before the night.
That's cooler though than most people keeps it and aroma will that's
Yes. Number two, we said the darkness, blackout curtains or eye mask, even small amounts of light can disturb melatonin. And important sound. You can control noise, for example, white noise or airplanes. No. Consistent background is better than repeatedly in the interruptions. So, if we're going to use headsets.
What about clocks? I remember as a small child, the clocks, this, I used to drive my ends there. I'm not joking. I used to go up and switch all the clocks off everywhere because that was the only thing I could cut at.
That was the noise.
That drives me insane.
That was the noise. You have some white noise on the TVs or things. So sometimes there you have some consistent background. It's better because with that background you have I personally can't.
I cannot stand it.
Not anymore. So clocks, no clocks visibly. Clock watching is a major driver of sleep anxiety. Tell them away or remove them. Why you look at time and say, oh my god, it's 3 o'clock, I have to go to work. Yes, how get remove anxiety.
Yeah.
Yes.
Caffeine truth. What is the most or
Caffeine, as we discussed also before, has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours. Of course, can be between 1.5 hours and 9 hours. But half-life, you can say it's around 5 to 6 hours. So that means if you drink coffee around 3 p.m., you have in your system around 9 p.m. So some people metabolize it slower, some faster. So usually you don't want coffee the last 6 hours before you go to sleep. I would say 8 at least, but depends.
what is the cutoff?
The most people know you have insomnia, of course, earlier, and here's a trap. You don't feel that the caffeine prevents sleep, but you just lie there awake, not connecting the dots. And this is important. Especially, for example, me personally, when I do night shifts, I drink a lot of coffee. But I'm sitting there 2, 3 o'clock, and I really feel tired. I want to sleep. My brain is active. And sometimes before the night shift, I stop drinking coffee around 6 o'clock. But it makes difference.
Let's talk about supplement because everybody speaks about it. Melatonin, magnesium, all the stuff at the pharmacy. What is actually what works there?
We will go through the evidence because there's a lot of misinformation. Melatonin, for example. 5 of 7 randomized control trials showed statistically significantly improvement in sleep quality.
So it works.
It helps you fall asleep about 7 minutes faster on average.
7 minutes, so it's not.
It's not a knockout pain, but it's best for circadian rhythm issues. For what? Jet lag, for example, if you travel, it's good to use it. Shift work and delayed sleep phases. Like for classic insomnia, the effect is modest.
What about magnesium?
Research showed improvements in sleep quality, particularly in people who were deficiency. So magnesium insufficiency, in GABA receptors and melatonin, it influences GABA receptor and melatonin productions. Forms like magnesium glycinate and L-threonate may be absorbed a little bit better.
So they were trying.
If you might be deficiency, and many people are, of course, it's reasonable. Not a cure, but potentially helpful. Combined, of course, also with other things.
What about malaria, kava, those herbal things?
Weak, I have to hope. Weak only because this is the evidence. Some people swear by them, and that is strongly supported. Personally, I have valerian, I thought that it was help. But what I saw, a combination of melatonin, magnesium, and zinc, it showed synergistic effect in studies, especially for elderly.
Bottom line on supplement.
They are modest at best, not going to fix chronic insomnia on their own. Think of them as a potential additions to CBT for insomnia, but not replacements. And be careful, supplements aren't regulated drugs. So quality is also wise. Look for good drugs.
Okay, we promised a section for shift workers. This is a popular that's often forgotten in sleep advice.
Yes, and it's a big chunk of the workforce does shift work. And shift work sleep disorder numbers swing a lot depending on how you define it and who you study. In classic data, it's closer to around 1 in 10 nights days with shift workers. But in some high experience group, it's much higher. Think bottom line, it's common and of course it's missed.
Okay, translate that. Should shift worker assume they have it?
Not assume, but if your schedule forces you to sleep against your body clock and you are consistently exhausted, foggy, or reliant like me on caffeine just to function, that's a flag. Okay? And the solution is different from regular insomnia. So it's worth a proper evaluation.
What makes it turn of the body?
Use a circadian rhythms. You have your internal 24-hour clock. Then is governed by light exposure. It tells your body when to be alert, when to sleep, and shift work forces you to sleep when your body says be awake, and work when your body says sleep.
Basically, you fight in your own biology.
Yes, exactly. The circadian initial causes chronic sleep deprivation, and this makes higher rates of depression and anxiety. Plus, it increases the risk of metabolic syndrome, diabetes, and higher accident rates.
So, what can shift workers actually do?
Okay, you can have a standard CBT for insomnia, and of course, this needs modifications, and there are some areas that supports. Like first, anchor sleep. Try to keep at least 4 hours for your sleep time consistency, even on day off. Okay? Complete schedule flipping is worse. You want to maintain some consistency.
Even 4 hour makes a difference.
Yes, because it gives your body something to hold on to. Yeah. Second, strategic light exposure. Bright light during your day, even if it's actually night. You avoid bright light before your night sleep. There are some blue looking glasses that you can commute home from a night shift. Can help. You try.
Basically, tricking your brain into thinking it's daytime.
Exactly. You can have a blackout your sleep environment completely. Like daytime sleep requires total darkness. So your brain fights sleep if any light is present. Melatonin are stronger evidence for soft workers, for shift workers. Taken before daytime sleep, it can help shift the circadian rhythms. And I think for strategic napping, like 20 or 30 minutes nap before your night shift can improve alertness without causing, this grogginess.
So, any shift worker specific therapy?
Yes, they had the randomized period 2024 that shows behavioral therapy adapted for shift workers significantly improve daytime sleep and reduce insomnia severity in nurses.
So, there is hope.
That it's absolutely. It's harder, but it's not impossible.
Okay, now we are ready for the rapid fire question from the listeners. It's okay to nap during the day?
If you have insomnia, generally no. Napping reducing sleep pressure, no. Then drive to sleep at night. Exception, shift workers using strategic naps. Or if you are dangerously sleep deprived. If you do a nap under 30 minutes before 3 p.m.
Do sleep apps actually work?
Yes, the CBT apps, we're talking about CBT-I apps, can work, especially the structure-related based programs. There are some even from FDA clear, but works doesn't mean everyone gets the same result. If someone has complex insomnia, severe anxiety, or keep relapsing, the easy and guided CBT for insomnia can be better. Sleep tracking apps can help awareness, but don't obsess with that. Some people develop orthosomnia, where chasing sleep scores make sleep worse.
Orthosomnia, that's a real thing.
Yes, it's real and increasingly common. Orthos is when you know very well what it is, when you are sleeping, when you are sitting there, standing when you are sleeping. This is what it means, and you know it very well.
This is an interesting one. What about cannabis or CBT for sleep?
Okay, THC may help you fall asleep initially, but like alcohol, it disrupts sleep architecture. It suppresses REM, regular use this to tolerance. CBT has less evidence. Some small studies show modest benefit, but quality and dosing are variable. Neither is as successful for addressing underlying causes.
Okay, and this one. I wake up at 3 a.m. every night and I can't get back to sleep. Why?
Classic middle of the night insomnia. Your initial sleep pressure gets you to sleep, but it's depleted around 3 a.m. and cortisol starts rising from morning. So if you have hyperarousal, you wake and you can't return, maybe CBT for insomnia techniques are key, especially not lying in bed frustrated. Get up, do something boring, return only when you want to feel out.
Okay. How long does CBT-I take to work?
CBT for insomnia, most people see significant improvement within 1-2 months, 4 to 8 weeks. Usually the first 1-2 weeks, often worse, but by week 3-4, sleep consolidation improves. And by week 6 to 8, after 2 months, most people are sleeping better, reset, and probably better be haven't slept for years. And it gains persist.
And if I have an autoimmune disease, does stress affect my sleep differently?
Autoimmune conditions often involve systemic inflammation, which can disrupt sleep directly. And the principles still apply. You should work with your doctor. Sleep quality affects immune function, and it's especially important to optimize.
What should someone stop trying to fix this problem and actually seek for professional help?
Okay, things like red flags, you have to see a doctor. When you have loud snoring, gasping, or weakness breath pause, because this is just sleep apnea. Okay? This requires a sleep study. If you have excessive daytime sleepiness, despite the daytime in bed, it could be also sleep apnea or narcolepsy or some other disorder. You have restless legs, comfortable sensation and urge to move your legs, especially at night. If acting out dreams physically could indicate REM sleep behavior disorders. Main thing, insomnia that may improve after 4 to 6 weeks of consistent CBT for insomnia. I use an app, for example, because I know people they use apps, but they may need professional guidance or investigation for underlying causes. And of course, you have insomnia with significant depression or anxiety. This needs to be treated alongside or, of course, both. Safety concerns, if sleep deprivation will affect your ability to drive, work, function safe.
So sleep studies are fun, but it can be life-changing for people with undiagnosed sleep apnea.
Yes, we diagnosed sleep apnea, which that's been destroying people's life for years. And one night or in a sleep lab, something we can change. We can start with my take-away message.
Yes, you can start it. You can start with your...
Okay, think insomnia is not about willpower. You can't try harder to sleep. In fact, trying harder is a part of the problem. So the paradox of sleep is that you have to let go of trying. And CBT for insomnia works because it breaks the cycle of effort and of course anxiety that perpetuates insomnia. So, if you have been struggling for months, stop reaching for peace. Start restructuring your relationship with the solution. It's not pharmacological, it's behavior.
I like that one. And my take then, don't suffer in silence. Insomnia affects everything, your mood, your work, your relationship, and your health. And it's treatable, not with pills that mask the problem, but with techniques that actually fixes it. And that should be a place for rest, not for battlefield. And tonight, start small. If you're not sleeping, get out of bed, break association, you can reclaim your nights.
Remember, the harder you try to sleep, the more awake you become. So stop trying.
Quick recap. The problem, 852 million people with insomnia, most getting the wrong treatment. The wrong solution, sleeping pills, short term, long-term harm. The right solution, CBT-I, retrains your brain, effect less. The protocol 3-2-1 rule, sleep restriction, cool, dark, quiet room, no clock, tick, tick, watching. So this is the tip that we have.
Yes, and you can start only to do 3 things this week. 1, set a consistent wait time and stick to it, including weekends for everybody. 2, get out of the bed if you're awake more than 20 minutes. And 3, Lena, no screens. At least 1 hour before bed.
I think I sleep with the children already at 7, so this does not apply for me. Maybe when I was 20. But start there and build from there.
Good. That's our episode 7. Why I cannot sleep.
So if you find this helpful, share this please with a friend that have been struggling, or you might like change their life and to give them any of this advice. So share it, please.
Yes, and I'll see you in the next episode that we'll discuss probably the silent killer that's called inflammation and what's really eating you from the inside.
So until then, turn out the screens, cool down the room, and for the love of everything, stop watching the clock.
Then I leave down your mind. Bye bye.
Bye.